going to be 7.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm muting this. Yeah, you're not on.
What are you doing?
I go. You're now able to talk.
I am? You sure? Oh, hi there, Steve. Okay.
Welcome again.
Yeah, all right.
Yep. Probably the biggest challenge, Tom,
Yes.
that I see for you will be when we have to swear in a witness.
Right.
I'm going to have to figure out how, I would assume you're going to want to be able to see them when you're swearing them in. So I'm going to have to figure out how to be able to.
It's up to you. I mean, as long as you hear him say yes, I guess we'd be.
Okay.
That was us. That's Kevin. Ah. How did you get us to come back on, Jakey? How'd you get us on there back on? Or did they just turn me off? Huh?
Right there.
Where?
You're on.
I'm on. Okay. Oh, I'm just looking for the button for him to show me.
Then if you don't want to show your face anymore, you hit stop video.
Well, that's probably everybody else would like that, but you know.
Well, I think for at least when we're initially doing in swearing in, people probably ought to be able to see you.
Okay. All right.
So just so you know, we are going to be recording this. Actually, we're recording it now.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. And so we have the decision in a couple fence cases, right? Looks like.
Yeah, decision, a couple fence cases, and
Hey Steve, I just want to let you know that you guys are good on YouTube. Everything looks great.
Oh,
thank you.
All right, I'm going to sign off now.
Yep, great.
Oh, Jesus. Sort of, yeah, a little bit.
What about the phone?
Somebody called like at Lansdowne.
I know, but it's still gonna ring.
I turned it off. Well, if it does, we just click it right back off. So.
Do you want me?
Hey, Stephen, it's Rich. Do you hear me?
I can hear you, Rich.
Okay. And you're good at moving me over to panelist when we need to be? We don't need to do a practice run on that?
If I move you to panelist, I'll do it now. You are now a panelist. You don't have your screen on, I would say, because I can't see you.
All right, I see I'm using audio.
Down in the bottom corner, it should be a thing that says start video.
I see it.
There you go.
All right, you got me.
Yep.
Okay, and then you could just move me out of there. I just wanted to do a test run, so when the time came, we knew what we were doing.
It hit us all day.
Or you could hit that button.
Oh, okay. Here. Oh yeah, I got one there, one there. Jake got two of them. What's that?
On your side.
Yes, fine. If she wants to come up and watch, she can. Okay.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Steve.
Hey. Yeah. Hey, Kevin. What's going on?
Not much.
There you go. I thought they called a meeting off from snow. It was snowing this afternoon for about
it was crazy.
5 minutes. So we'd have a snow delay. That's all you need on top of this. I was going to call down jokingly and tell Suzanne, hey, it's snowing out here. We better call it off.
Hi, Tom.
Hey,
how are you?
Hey, good. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Pretty good.
Good day. Oh, it's Rob. Okay, Rob.
Just so everybody knows that we are recording. And we are out on YouTube. So if you want to see yourself up in lights, you can go to YouTube.
Oh, boy.
I have it. We're still waiting on a couple others.
All right.
Newtown Township.
Newtown.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Are you guys able to see and hear me okay? This is Bob Lodge.
I hear you fine, Bob. I'm good.
All right. Usually I can see myself in this one, but not this setup.
Yeah,
your camera's on. Are you doing it by phone?
No, I'm doing it by iPad. So
you were on a minute ago. You were on there a minute ago.
I was going to say you were on there a minute ago. I wonder if you've turned your camera off, but it's showing that it's on. There you go.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Yeah, he's good.
Oh, I was trying to get my good side, I guess. And it didn't work.
Is Kevin actually at the board in the hearing room?
No, it's a background. It's my conference room at work.
Oh, is it? Okay. Oh, I got you. I know you're the expert on that stuff, Kevin.
That would have been more funny if that was your that was at your home though.
No.
Yeah.
I don't want to take my work home.
Tom, did the Phillies refund you ticket prices over there?
Well, they told me, they're pretty flexible. They, I can either use it for the playoffs. Yeah, right. Use it towards next year, whatever. We'll see what happens. Yeah, they're being pretty good about it.
That's good.
They haven't lost. They're still tied for first. Oh, yeah. Boy, oh, boy. Oh, man. Uh-oh. Wherever she's at, make sure she's telling the truth. There's Andy.
I'm here.
How's it going, Andy?
Not too bad, Tom. How's yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks.
Good, good. You staying safe?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I like this new setup. Don't get too used to it.
No, yeah.
We want you in person for all the jokes.
No, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I like coming down, believe me. My wife's actually here going to watch me in action. She's
uh-oh.
I actually do work once in a while. And my grandson's here.
Tell them I'm the reason why you're on here. I am.
Yeah, boy.
All right, I believe that we have everybody on for your board. I'm looking here. I think everybody that's on related to a case is here. So I have that it's just now 7 o'clock. Do you want to wait a moment in case some people are still trying to join?
Yeah.
Steve, we have one matter we can address before the docketed cases.
Okay.
There's a case that we previously addressed.
Yep.
There was a Marple Newtown School District High School case, and there were several appellants who had appealed the board's decision. However, there was a settlement that was agreed to by the majority of the appellants, and they submitted a settlement package for the board to sign a number of months ago. On the record, the board approved it with the proviso that I sign. I sign as the zoning solicitor, indicating that the board did not was not involved in the settlement negotiations with that. And subsequently, the one remaining appellant, Marjorie Naylor, there's also been a proposed settlement with Ms. Naylor, and I was forwarded some paperwork from the attorneys with the proposed settlement stipulation, and I forwarded to the board this week. And same request, they're asking that I sign the document, and with everyone's approval, I will indicate on the signature line that the board was not involved directly with the settlement negotiations. Is there a motion?
Well, I'd be fine with making a motion to approve you signing this agreement.
Have we called the meeting to order?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Should we do that first?
Yeah.
Details.
All right, skipping right ahead of us, Dave.
You got it. You got it.
I took all that down though. If you don't have to go through it again.
Well, I guess, do we have everyone here? Are we able to call the meeting to order?
I think you have all of your board here.
Okay.
There's only 4 of us tonight.
Is David?
There's 4 of you.
Yes.
Is he on?
So sorry.
Is David Kalman on?
I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Oh,
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do have 10 people under the list of panelists, which is your board. 2 of those are me. One is on the shared screen, and the other one says Newtown Township. And then you have your solicitor here, you have Andy here, and I have had promoted Rich, and I can't unpromote him for some reason. So Rich is muted, but he is on. Rich Sikora, the township's attorney.
All right. I know this is a new process calling this meeting to order since it's over Zoom here, but do we need anything else to call the meeting to order, or are we good to start?
You're good to start. I think because I've gone over and talked about everybody is here, it's the only person from your board that's not here was Mike.
Yes.
And he was unable to be here this evening, Mike Lynch. So you're good to go.
All right.
Just so it's clear on the record with Tom that we got a quorum here.
Yep.
Right. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
Bob, I'd be fine making a motion to approve Mr. DePasqua signing whatever he just presented to the board.
I guess all those in favor?
Aye.
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 And I have to abstain because I was not involved in it. Well, I guess I can vote on this one, not the other one. So I'll vote aye.
All those opposed? All right. Motion passes. All right, so do we want to?
Before you get, I'm sorry to interrupt, but before you get started, I can just take care of a couple housekeeping issues for the group. First of all, for those who are in attendees, currently your mics are turned off. If you wish to speak, please feel free to raise your hand and I will unmute you and you would be able to share. The other piece that I wanted to share quickly for tonight's meeting, we will be taking, when we get ready to take public comment or during a case when we're taking public comment, You will be able to raise your hand. You would be able to send a message via public comment at Newtown Township.org, and that is all spelled out. Public comment is treated as one word. Public comment at Newtown Township.org. And if you send a public comment there, I would read it into the record on your behalf. If you're going to do that, I would ask that you please include your name, full name, first and last, as well as your address. The second piece that I would say, if you just raise your hand, so far I've looked, I do not see anybody who has called in, so everyone would be able to just raise their hand and I could unmute you, allow you to speak, and we would take your comment. I see somebody's got their hand up. We'll get that in just a moment. So that's the way we can take public comment tonight, if there's any questions. The second thing that I would like to bring to everyone's attention, because this is the zoning hearing board, property owners that are within 200 feet of the property for which zoning relief is sought, you have been identified as folks who have potential impact by the zoning relief being requested, and anyone in the municipality may make public comment to the matter before the zoning hearing board at the appropriate time. However, if you believe that you are personally or would be affected by the relief more than just being a member of the general public, you may be entitled to become a party protestant in the hearing that is of the zoning hearing board, that you would be able to share that. If you wish to be a party protestant to a particular case this evening, I would ask that when we get to that section, we will ask if there's any party protestants. When we do, I will go down and make sure that if anybody has raised their hand, we will acknowledge that. We'll allow you to state your name and information. And as a party protestant, during the hearing, you may be directed by the board chair or the solicitor of the zoning hearing board to make an opening statement, call and ask questions of witnesses, review or submit evidence, object to evidence, testify under oath yourself, and make a closing statement. After the hearing, as a party protestant, you will receive a written decision by the zoning hearing board, and you may choose, if you wish to appeal that decision of the zoning hearing board to the Common Court of Pleas. As always, anyone would be allowed to make public comment, and so if you just want to make public comment, you can do that. You don't have to be a party protestant. I believe that has covered the issues for this evening on how we're going to move forward. I do see one person's hand if the board wishes to recognize that.
I'm fine with that if everyone else is okay with that.
Are we just backtracking though at this point? It's
the question that came up, it actually is, and I'll do it. The question was, they just didn't, the person was wondering what it was that you voted on.
Okay, can we circle back to that at the end? That wasn't on the agenda. It was about a approval of an agreement between Marple School District and one of the
Dunwoody resident.
Yeah. That are for the signature for approval for Dave DePasquale to sign that. So. All right, do you want to move on to the first? Do we have all the parties here for Main Street, 2019-03?
I apologize. I know that Rich, I believe, is going to speak on that. And let me see if he's on. Hold on a second.
I think you have to unmute him though, Steve, right?
I shouldn't have to, but I am hitting it and it's not unmuting. I think he's gonna have to unmute himself. There we go. Whoops. There you go. Rich?
Yeah, once you unmuted me as host, I could unmute myself.
Yeah. And then should I unmute Charles as well, I guess?
Yes, please.
I've unmuted Charles as well. Charles, you would need, there you go.
There it goes. Yep, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, the two people that are going to speak to this have been unmuted, and you may move forward.
All right, we can, if we have the whole board together, we can get started on this matter. Mr. Secor, did you want to make comment, or was the other party going to make comment first? Or
if you would just allow me to kind of tee it up.
Sure.
So I have, we closed the record in this matter some time ago, and the board has 45 days to issue a decision. And Mr. Miller, on behalf of his client, has granted a series of continuances to make that decision because we've been engaged in settlement discussions for some time. In fact, Mr. Miller is here, and I'm sure he'll confirm that, number one, he's agreed to participate in this type of proceeding remotely. And number two, he is also granting another continuance for the decision. And before I let him speak, I just want to kind of explain what's going on to everyone and why we didn't just ask for another continuance. We've been inching closer as a township and the applicant to reaching a conclusion. Back in January, we had a meeting with a number of the protestants. Not every protestant was there, but a lot of the folks that lived in direct proximity of this house were there. And it was a very productive meeting. And we did not reach a decision or an agreement at that meeting, but it was apparent that we were getting closer and closer. 3 being the number of unrelated folks that can live in a house together in a single family residential area, and 12 being requested by the applicant for the sober living facility. As you know, this was originally listed as an appeal of a code violation, but it was converted by agreement of the township and the applicant to just a request for a reasonable accommodation under the Fair Housing Amendments Act and the Americans with Disabilities Act to use this residential property in a residential manner by these folks who are living in a sober living environment, post recovery, post rehabilitation, pre-reentry into society, kind of a transition place. The township has been working to try to resolve this, and we believe that we've reached a spot that maybe that the whole world will not like, but that a number of interested parties will be able to live with, including the applicant and the neighbors and the township. And that specifically is 7 people in this particular residence. And my understanding is that the applicant is okay with that. The township would be okay with that, but we're not in a position to just come in and settle this case because a number of things have to happen. Number one, for the township to enter into a settlement agreement, we have to go before the Board of Supervisors in a public meeting and approve our entry into such an agreement. There has to be public comment, and I imagine that there would be a number of individuals who would want to do that. To do that, we have to reduce our agreement into writing, and we would circulate it amongst the other protestants and hopefully gain their agreement with what we've done. I don't think everybody is 100% on board. I don't know if it's necessarily because of the number of people or just because I haven't seen a written agreement yet. They want to make sure it protects what they consider to be important interests. But you got to start somewhere. So the first thing we wanted to do was announce at an open meeting our intention to resolve this at 7 residents cap Right now, there's 9 residents. So the idea would be that because these aren't permanent residents, as you heard in your testimony, there is a it's not transient, but it's not permanent. It's a temporary residence. So the average resident, I think, was 5 to 7 months. So the idea would be, as these folks move on and cycle out, they will not be replaced until such time as any replacement would not exceed 7 total residents, including the manager. So this isn't an ordinance that applies to the whole township. This is a settlement for this one particular property, this one particular applicant, as to what is a reasonable accommodation in this individual circumstance. So I'm only speaking on behalf of the township and trying to summarize what I've had detailed discussions with the applicant. So my understanding is what we're doing here today, and I'll let Mr. Miller chime in here in a second, is just advising you of where we are, how we see this hopefully resolving in the very near future, asking you to continue this one more time to allow the township to then deal with this at its public meeting, come back to you and say, here's a signed settlement agreement. Mr. Miller, have I said anything incorrectly?
You've summarized it very well. Thank you for that. I just want to add one little piece, which is obviously the agreement that we've tried to tentatively work out is 7 residents. There are 9 at this point. Due to the circumstances going on and around the emergency that's in place, that has made it difficult, or if not impossible, for my client to be able to have those 2 people immediately moved out, even if that was, if that was part of it. It's made it difficult because there's these individuals need some time in order to be able to find another accommodation that will allow them, given their situation, given some of the issues that they have that were all discussed, that these residents do have, to be able to move out at a time. So that was brought up with the township. And I believe Mr. Skora can talk about it a little more, but I think that was also discussed with some of the immediate neighbors as to that particular issue. And that kind of led down a path where that this settlement, this kind of tentative agreement would be able to be worked out with that little caveat, but 7 being the number of folks.
Yep. Charles, if you could just confirm that you're granting that additional time to the zoning board to allow us to extend to the next meeting.
That's correct. Yes. And
then number 2,
the waiver of any applicable time periods that would be under the MPC. That's correct.
Thank you, sir. And then secondly, just as we discussed, you don't object to proceeding under this format tonight.
Correct. Absolutely not.
Thank you. So with that, I don't know, there's other folks, obviously there's other protestants in this matter. I know I had heard from some of them today, they're very concerned that I would represent something on their behalf that they didn't agree to. So I don't know if anybody else wants to raise their hand or make a comment. If that's not the case, I would just formally request on behalf of the township and the applicant to continue it to the next meeting, and subject, like I said, to any other comments from anybody.
Nope. Sorry, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Mr. Chairman, there is one person that has raised their hand. If you would, I'm going to go ahead and allow them to talk.
Sure.
Okay, let me unmute myself. This is Pat.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
This is Patty Wilson, 4111 Battles Lane. I want to call to attention the zoning hearing board that this matter has been ongoing since at least 2018, with multiple opportunities for any kind of settlement to have occurred. To leave the residents of this township, including me, hanging on a decision here of the zoning hearing board is truly unconscionable. I'm going to urge you to consider making a decision, whatever that is, so that the due process rights of the residents of this township and the party protestants can move forward. So if you make a decision and they're unhappy with it, they can start an appeal to force the issue of a decision being made. Why this has gone on for as long as it has been, and why there hasn't been a willingness in engaging in trying to resolve this matter during that period of time has really been detrimental to both the neighborhood and the overall township. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any other board members want to make any comment, or? I think
if I could, I would, Richard.
Sure.
I'm abstaining from any involvement in terms of decision making. I haven't been involved in this matter at all. But I want to bring to your attention, and I brought it to the attention of the members of the board, that that property has outstanding sewer bills going back a long time. There's an amount of $6,452.18. It's one of the highest amounts owed by any property or property owner within the township. And so, wearing a different hat, I would ask the supervisors to consider that as part of any approvals to any settlement or any other matter, that amount be satisfied. But as I say, I'll be abstaining from participating in any votes relating to this matter. Thank you.
I will certainly advise the board of your concern. I will note just a couple things. Number one, the applicant is not the property owner. I'm not justifying it one way or the other. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just pointing out that the applicant is not the property owner, number one. Number two, I will relate.
All right. Fair enough. I mean, in response to that, I would point out, in dealing with Mr. Curry's, there's 3 of them that own that property. Their argument always is, we got a lease with the tenant who's supposed to pay it, and they don't pay it. That's a private matter, obviously, between the landlord and the tenant, but nonetheless, the obligation relates to the both of them.
But the lien is on the property, right?
Just to add a little bit, some of there was testimony given regarding some of the sewer bills and the lack thereof provided by the owner of the property, and payment made by my client with respect to those sewer bills and the monthly payments that were made on that. And I know that was brought up, and that is reflected in the notes of testimony.
I will, Mr. Sheridan, what I'll do is I'll take those notes from the transcripts, and when this is presented to the board, I'll make sure they have those specific references.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Well, if there's no other comment, then I think with both parties in agreement for a 1-month continuance, I'd be okay with approving that continuance at this time for them to go before the supervisors to see if they can agree, or set an agreement up, then come before us and see if we can render our decision.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And with that would be, if I'm correct, May 21st, our next meeting.
I'm looking it up right now. Hold on a second.
Okay, I think, yeah.
Just a point of order. I'm not so sure your board doesn't need to actually have an actual vote on that, but
okay.
That you need a motion and a vote, I believe. But
oh, do we for that? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the 1-month continuance on Z2019-03 for Main Street. All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there a second first?
I second.
Okay. That sorry, so there's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And just note, I abstain. I'm going to be abstaining, even though it's not a big motion. I'm abstaining from all matters relating to this case. Thank you.
And for the record, May 21st is the right date.
Okay. I only heard 1 aye, 1 abstaining.
Yeah. David Calvin, did he vote?
Can you guys hear me?
I got Kevin. Is David there? Did he say aye? David Kalman?
Aye.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. And aye. All those opposed? Okay. So the motion for the 1-month continuance passes.
Thank you so much, everyone. I'm going to drop off unless you have anything else for me.
Nope. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Rich.
Bye-bye.
All right. Would you like to move on to 2020-5, Anthony and Sarah Boxler, 3663 Waynesfield Road, Newtown Square?
Just now promoting Ms. Boxler to be a panelist.
Hello.
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 Hi.
I guess while we're waiting, can we ask, is there Andy or Dave there? Is the file in order?
The file is in order.
Okay. Is there anyone on this matter present that wishes to be a party protestant or be heard on this matter?
If so, we would just ask that they raise their hand.
Digitally.
Digitally, yes.
All right.
I would make note, Mr. Chairman, I do not, as you move forward, I have checked the box outside and I did not get any information from anyone. And I'm in the process of pulling up the public comment.
Okay. Well, if there's no one that's party protesting, they can proceed with their case if they're able to hear us. And
Hey, Steve, should I swear him in?
oh, please.
Okay. The Boxler's there? Okay. Do you both swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
We
Yes.
do.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
All right, you can proceed.
Thank you. Well, first, just wanted to thank you all for your time tonight on this matter and making it possible through Zoom under the circumstances. So from the information that we submitted, we understand how the code is written, that it's technically based off of the code a second front yard where Route 252 aligns with the side yard of our property. But if our house does not face 252 at all, we have no direct road access to it. It doesn't function as a front yard in any way. However, when we come out of the garage, Route 252 is in that side yard. We have two very young children, two boys who are starting to make their way closer and closer to that road.
They play in that side yard daily.
They come out of the garage into the driveway, the road is visible. So our hardship and the reason why we want to install this fence is to create a barrier of protection for our sons from that very busy, fast-paced road.
Also, I'll add, as it says in the paperwork, we're just looking to put one panel of fencing and not enclose the property in any way.
Okay. So it's just that one fence on 252, so you're not enclosing that. And I mean, are you telling us you want it there really for safety issues?
Correct, to provide a barrier between our yard where the children play and mitigate the possibility of them wandering too far towards the road.
And am I correct that your home is on a cul-de-sac?
Yes.
That where you come out of the driveway, the location of the fence would not obstruct, nobody would ever be coming from that direction because it faces the backside of the cul-de-sac. So there would never be an issue of any vehicles coming the other direction that might have a safety issue with you coming out of your driveway if the fence is there. Is that fair?
There would be no safety issues there, because you are correct in that as you are pulling out of our driveway, the cul-de-sac is the right side of you leaving. So there's no other entry point to that right side. Everything is visible, so there wouldn't be any issues with other cars coming that we would not be able to see. And we are actually proposing in the plans to stop the fence at a tree
that is along the current brush line not extend all the way to the cul-de-sac. We still want to have a something that's visually pleasing for the rest of the neighborhood and not have that fence be viewed as soon as you come closer to the house and come up towards the cul-de-sac. So as you can see where the fence ends towards the bottom of the image, that's not where the cul-de-sac is. We're going to do more vegetation to create a barrier there that's more visually pleasing for the rest of the neighborhood.
So it does not, the fence will not come all the way to the curb or even close to where the cul-de-sac begins.
Right.
And you have, there's a letter in here, I believe, from your neighbors?
Yes.
Yes.
Are they the ones directly across from you on the other side of the cul-de-sac?
Yes.
They're not on the other side of the cul-de-sac. They are directly across from us. So it kind of, it's weird how the properties align. They are directly across from us, but there's one property on the cul-de-sac. Correct.
Okay. And have you talked to your neighbors about this? Are they, other than that neighbor that sent this letter?
Yes, since the sign has been posted out front for 2 months or 6 weeks or so now, we've had a lot of people coming by and asking us about it on their walks, and all seem very understanding that we would want to protect the 2 children from the busy road.
Mm-hmm. And the neighbor in question on the cul-de-sac, I actually talked to them before I submitted the application. They've been here for a very long time, asked if they had ever worked with the township on a similar issue to try and get some understanding of how best to proceed from a local neighbor who's been here in the township for a while. And they did not have any objection at that time. They understood for the protection of our kids because they raised young children in the home and understand the busy road.
Does anyone else on the board have any questions?
No, and I have no questions over it. I mean, for safety concerns, I think it's a good fit. So,
if there's no other questions, is there any public comment on this?
Again, if you're wishing to make public comment, we would ask that you virtually raise your hand. I see none.
Okay, would anyone on the board like to make a motion?
Yeah, I will. I make a motion to approve application Z 2020-05 for Anthony and Sarah Boxler at 3663 Waynesfield Road.
Okay. Are there a special exception?
Second. Mike Sheridan.
Okay, is there a second? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. All right. All
Aye.
those, all right. All right. The special exception passes. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank
and
you.
You'll get that writing.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
No problem. Everything.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I guess so we could move on once we'll give you a second. Right, so can we move on to 2020-06? Scott Mandel, 3903 Greenbank Lane, Newtown Square.
Whoops, I did the wrong person. I apologize.
For the record, the file is in order.
Oh, I was going to ask this time.
Yes, the file is in order.
Okay. Do we have the parties here or the party?
The party was here or was here. I wonder if I.
Is that how you, for
there we go. I'm sorry. I'll try one more time.
All right.
Promote to panelist. I think I promoted the wrong person. Sorry about that.
I think
Mr.
they've
Mandel, I
done
believe
themselves.
you could unmute yourself and address the board.
Hello, board, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi. Thanks again for doing this during these tough times and getting this set up on Zoom. Very impressed. You guys did it very quickly.
Can we, before we get started, so the file's in order, can we give him the oath? Or
sir. Yes, sir. Sir, do you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, thank you.
And do we have any public comment or party protestant on this matter?
Again, if so, would you please raise your hand virtually?
Awesome.
I don't see any hands raised.
All right, Mr. Mandel, if you'd like to get started, please go ahead.
Sure. So similar to the Boxlers previously, our issue is a matter of safety. We built our home 2 years ago here at Lissitor, and we were at the corner of Greenbank and Rock Farm Road. Rock Farm Road is a main thoroughfare for construction trucks, delivery trucks, general neighborhood traffic, and it can get quite dangerous at times. I had two small children, 5 and 2, and 2 dogs. And the fence is a matter of safety for their protections from not just the trucks, but also from a retention pond that sits across from my house that is not fenced in and can get up to 15 feet in depth at times. So I'm simply looking to fence in my side yard. It's not a front-facing yard. My driveway is on a different road. My house faces the other road. If you were to look at my house, it would appear as a backyard, not a front yard. So we're looking just to fence in the entirety of the backyard so we can utilize that space and have it safe for both my children and my dogs.
Okay.
If I may, just a point of clarification. By our zoning definition, this is a corner lot property, and because of the proximity of the two streets, both are defined as front yards, and it's simply based upon our definition, and that's the reason why the application was needed.
Sure, I understand.
All right. All right. Any board members have any questions? Or is that it for
from this picture right here that we're looking at, it's going to be on the left-hand side. We're going to see it coming out of there, right? That's what we're saying the 2 front yards are. This front here and this left side.
Correct.
That's correct.
But technically, for the front of the house, nothing's going to be coming past there, so it's going to go here and down along the side.
Yeah, if you notice by the red line by the house, there's actually a swale there. So we're navigating around that swale and then coming up behind the tree line and going and fencing in the perimeter around the yard.
Do we have to be concerned about the setbacks here, Andy, if there were ever to be any sidewalks or anything like that put in?
What we'll have to do before we issue the permit would be to validate and verify any right-of-way that's associated with Rock Farm Road. I don't think that this picture shows that there's no concern for clear sight triangles at the intersection, but we would want to make sure that the fence didn't encroach into any right-of-way that's associated with Rock Farm Road.
Mr. Mandel, did you have any discussions with the homeowners association regarding this matter?
I did. The homeowner association president called me this week for clarification on the matter. The signs posted listed the issue in regards to the front yard. And and some people had questions about whether that would be the actual front of the house itself or just the side yard. Once I spoke with him and clarified it, he was fine and gave it his blessing as well.
Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Mandel, how close will the fence, as it comes from your house towards the road, how close will, before it takes its turn, get to the road?
So right at the thicker part of that red line, there is a swale that has a depth of roughly about 6 or 7 feet. If you'll notice that the houses that you kind of see in a row here, the water from their drainage runs through my backyard and into a drain and then under the ground into the retention pond. So as close as we can get it without affecting any of the drainage, that's what we'll do.
Oh, I'm thinking of, and maybe I didn't state it correctly, coming the other direction towards the macadam portion of the road. How close will you be to that? Do you know?
That's roughly about 12 feet, 10 to 12 feet.
And this isn't wrapping all the way around, right? This is just going down that side?
No, this will enclose the entirety of the backyard.
It is going around the back, okay.
Yeah, I think if you go, is it what page was that? Page 46 of the packet, it kind of shows that with, so it turns there, goes, then you have a straight there of 138 feet and then a 90 foot, so.
And is the type of fencing you're going to have, is it solid panels or what?
So our association requires us to abide by their rules. It's a black metal fence, aluminum, about 4 feet high. They're very strict about what we can actually.
Is that the only fencing? Because driving through the community, I saw a couple other houses. So is that's that fencing that looks kind of wrought iron, but it's
pretty much.
Okay.
There's very small nuances to it, but yeah, it's all about the same.
I didn't see any. They all look
right, but it's fencing you can see through. It's not a complete visual obstruction. I think I know what Kevin's talking about. The other fences I saw in the neighborhood.
Yeah, no, you can absolutely see through it. There's maybe 3 to 4 inch gaps between a small metal bar running through the fence, and it's
Out of curiosity, has the association said they're going to fence in that stormwater basin? That's pretty steep and deep, it looks like.
Yeah.
I've called the city. I actually would appreciate.
Yeah, if you any help there would be great. My office faces that basin, and I oftentimes see kids going down in there and acting as kind of a communal father. I go down and tell them to get out of there, but that water can get very deep when it rains.
I bet it can.
So, Andy, you don't see any sightline issues for driving or anything with this fence?
I certainly don't see any sightline issues at the intersection, no.
Okay. Did anyone else on the board have any comment? Did you guys want to talk about this, or anyone wanted to make a motion? Or?
I mean, I'll make a motion to approve the application. I get the concern, especially with the stormwater runoff being right there, and obviously the fact that this is at 2 front yards. So let me pull it up so I can see the actual document to make a motion to approve for the application number. Can we pull that back up, Steve? So I make a motion to approve application Z2020-06 for Scott Mandel at 3903 Greenbank Lane, Newtown Square.
I'll second.
Do we just want to add in there from Andy about it has to comply with all right-of-ways and setbacks?
And HOA approvals?
The one form on there is the HOA approval that you have.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, included in there, if it's not, it was sent in, the HOA has approved.
The only thing I saw was the swing set. I didn't see the fence.
It's on the same form.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right, so we're making.
Do you want me to redo that motion then?
Yeah, I guess so. Just
That's fine. I'll make a motion to approve application Z2020-06 for Scott Mandel at 3903 Greenbank Lane, assuming that they meet all of the setbacks required for when that fence goes in.
Oh, okay, and right away. All right, is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay. All those opposed? No. Motion passes.
Great. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate
No
it.
problem.
Thank you so much. All right. I believe that's our last matter. Do we, any other matters or anything we need to deal with?
We took care of the additional business.
Yeah.
In that case, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll approve that motion. Do we need to have it?
Second.
I guess we had no public comment for the other matters. Do we need to make any public comment at this point or no? Since we had public comment for each matter.
I think we're good now, right? That the motion passed.
You have taken public comment in the past, but
okay. Okay.
If anyone had public comment, they could raise their hand at this point.
Okay.
And at this point, I see none.
Okay, then I guess meeting adjourned. And Dave, you'll send me those?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Good night.
Everybody be well.
You guys.
Stay safe.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.